Hi, this is Are Tømmerås at Migris, and this is part 5 of our instruction video series for the new MigriX lightweight petroleum systems modeling software. And in this video segment we will be looking at the basic model building functionality in MigriX. So we have opened the Explorer component, and we have navigated to a folder with a set of depth maps which we'll be using to build a model from scratch. So we can start by previewing these maps in the Explorer. See that we have a set of maps with different depths, and we can look at the depth distribution as histograms and the area statistics for these grids. So we see the depths and the extent of the model. Okay, so then we can select a set of these grids that we want to start with and drag them into the MigriX 3D view. This will bring up the new project setup wizard, where the first step is to define the layer model. So we can change the ages, like changing the 200 to 194 instead. We may also change the names of some of the layers. Can put in the base tertiary and a BCU and the top Triassic, maybe also the seabed. Okay. Next we can change or modify the lithology. So we change this to shaly silt, and we may also want to adjust the source rocks. So we put the source rock at the upper Jurassic instead. Next, in the second step, we have to fill in the basic project information. This includes the name of the project and the area where you will be working. So here we have the northern North Sea, so we select that. We have the UTM zone and median will be filled in, and then we just click finish to construct the model and open it. Okay, so here the resulting model is opened with 4 layers. So we can choose to show the layer names. So we see that the uppermost one is seabed, then we have the BTU, BCU and the top Triassic. Now we can look at some of the properties for these layers. So we go to model structure and plot the depth and the thickness of the units. Okay, so we can now add some more layers to the model. So we go back and open the Explorer windows again, and same folder as before, select a few more depth grids, and we can then drag these into the 3D view and drop them in the area outside of the model. And this will bring up the update horizons dialog, where we can choose if we want to add them as new layers or to merge with existing ones. So here we choose the add new layer option. So this is the first of the grids, and we assign that a layer of the 55 MA, which is the Paleocene, and we say that this should be a shaly siltdown lithology, and click on apply. Then we have the second unit, which is the top middle Jurassic, which we give an age of 168 and assign it a name, and this should be a sandstone, it's a reservoir. Okay, click on apply again. And then we have the third map, which is the in the Cretaceous. We give it an age of 100, give it a name of lower Cretaceous, and choose a lithology. This is maybe more carbonaceous, so it's a carbonaceous shale, and we click on apply. And then we have completed all 3 layers, so we can build the geometries and reload the updated project. So we can rotate the model and maybe add the layer names back. We see that there are some new layers included, and we can then plot the properties for these layers, go back and plot the depth, for instance, and we see that it looks reasonable. Okay, so we have a local map which we can preview in the Explorer. We see that this is a 200-meter resolution, so it's much finer than the model, and we now want to compare how this matches with the model surface. So we disable all the other layers, zoom in a bit on the BCU layer. We can then add the local map to the grid maps folder in the project workspace. So we import it and give it a name. Okay, and then we can add it to the 3D view to make it visible. So then we see the local map and the existing 3D model together. So we see that there are some differences, there are some jumps around the edges. So the regional and local maps do not match perfectly. Now we want to merge this map into the model, and then we drag it in, and instead of using add new, we choose the merge into option, and we assign a zone width, how wide the merging should be. We click on build geometry, and the new model updated is loaded. We can now hide all the other layers again and zoom in on the new BCU layer, and we see that there are some differences. We have a more detailed mapped in the local area. We can turn back on the local map, and now we see that there is a good match between the local and the regional map. Okay, so we can disable the local map. We now have an updated model, and we can go to the Explorer again and look at the facies maps. So we have a set of facies maps for some of these carriers that we would like to add to the model. We can then go to the V-shale property in the input section, and we see that the model is now set up using just constant values. We can now add these facies maps to the model by simply dragging them onto the corresponding layer and choosing the replace option. So here we're replacing the V-shale property with this map, and we see that it's now showing the V-shale map for this layer. We can pull the model apart to see one of the deeper layers, the Middle Jurassic, and we drag the Middle Jurassic facies map onto that unit, and we see that deltaic facies map is now showing. We can add one more layer, take the Paleocene, drag the Paleocene facies map onto, and use the defaults and press apply, and we have a facies map also for that carrier. Okay, so now we have updated the model, and we do save project to store it. So next step is maybe we want to add some cultural data to the project. So we have some data here in the base map folder, some polygons and some CSV tables. So we go to the base map option in the project workspace, select a couple of these files, take the discoveries and maybe the blocks, and we see that they will be loaded into the base map section in the project workspace, and we can then say that we want to map this onto all our layers. Okay, so now all the base maps that we added are showing on the layer. Next we want to add some annotation as well. So we choose import as points and go and pick a well file, open it and say that we want to show the well name. So we see now that the well names are plotted on the top layer. But we can change this and say that we instead want to map it onto the Middle Jurassic layer. And we can also change the appearance of some of these labels. We go to the label panel and turn off the background. We can also change the text color. A lot of different options for setting the appearance of the cultural data. Okay, so finally we can try to add a well by just simply by dragging it into the 3D view. So this is then added to the well section in the project workspace, and we may choose to show some result or property on that well. So here we're showing the V-shale property. This shows the basics of adding cultural data. Now we can go back to the model and turn on all layers and pull them apart, and we can look at some more of the properties for the model building. So we can look at the depths as we have seen before. So we can also look at the thickness of the layers and for instance the dip of the layers. There are also some options in the QA structure folder which can be used for quality controlling the depth model. Can look at the thickness above the layer and which layer it is cutting with above and below, and also the ages of the layers above and below. So these options may be helpful in just for quality controlling the model that you have constructed. So if we find that we need to make some modifications to the layer model, we can go to the Edit Geological Table editor, and here we can fill in this basic details and make corrections to the layer model. We hope this video has clarified any questions you might have, and please use the contact information shown on the screen if you have any further questions. Thank you.